You're listening to the Animation Addicts Podcast, episode 349, Mid-Year Mailbag. Mailbag! Welcome to the Animation Addicts Podcast with the Rotoscopers, the number one place to get your animation fix with animation addicts just like you. Each episode, we dive into the wonderful world of animation featuring Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, and everything in between. From hilarious discussions and movie reviews to interviews with industry insiders, this show's mission is to brighten your day through our love of animation. So hop on your nerdy couch, grab some snacks, and get ready to hang out with your animation besties because it's time to dive into today's episode. Hey there, animation addicts. I'm Morgan Stradling.
And I'm Chelsea Robson.
And we are here again, having a great time. We are having a nerdy couch discussion episode. It's been a while since we had one of these. Seems like our goal is movie, nerdy couch discussion, movie, nerdy couch discussion. But it doesn't always happen that way. And so we have a stockpile of voicemails that have been sent over the past few months and decided it'd be a perfect opportunity to talk about them and to listen to them.
Let's do this.
All right. So the very first one that we have is from Kat. Now, the audio on this is a little muffled at the beginning, but we got you.
Hello, Rotoscopers. This is Kat. I just finished listening to your Lady and the Tramp episode. Actually wasn't planning on watching the live-action version, but now I kind of want to, just after listening to you talk about it. I don't know if I'll enjoy it, but maybe, So I'm going to check that out tonight. But I wanted to call to comment because of the point that Chelsea raised about the trope of, like, the bumbling dad, the bumbling husband, and where it comes from and why, the point that she made that made me really think was, why would a director do this when you're a guy? Anyway, you want to make, your oath gender look stupid. And that got me thinking, I think I actually do see that trope come up more in animation and, non-animated films as well from male directors as opposed to non-male directors. I just find that so interesting. I wish I had an answer to that question. I suspect it might just be the industry standard. Oh, we've done this. It's funny. It's a trope. And it's just not, I agree. It's not really funny anymore. Unless, the characters themselves are just very funny. Like, Homer Simpson, obviously iconic. And even that, harkens back to, Fred Flintstone and the Honeymooners. So this is a trope that goes back a really long time. And it is overrated, for sure. That's why it's a trope. But it also got me thinking about why I really love my favorite animated character, which is Lilo from Futurama. And it's because she is flawed. She can be dumb. She's smart in some ways, but not always in every way. And I love that because I think especially in the 80s and the 90s in the films of my youth, even though there were a lot of films that I enjoyed from that era, especially things geared toward kids, female characters were often presented as perfect, like the smartest, the most athletic, the best, and nobody is. And so that made me feel like, well, I can't live up to that. That doesn't seem like a real person. And you kind of have both ends of the spectrum. Like, if a character is really dumb, then that can be like, oh, I don't want to identify with that. But if a character is just perfect, I don't want to identify with that. And it is interesting, how and why that's gendered. And I'm sure there's a whole, dissertation somebody could write about that. Definitely not me. But going back to the whole Futurama thing, you have characters, every character pretty much is silly or stupid in some way, and also very smart in other ways. I think that's what makes them so fleshed out. I don't know how I got from Futurama to Lady and the Tramp, honestly, but I appreciate you sparking that discussion because it is really interesting. And ultimately, tropes are tropes, and the more directors, writers, everybody can kind of go beyond that and actually write actual fleshed out characters regardless of their gender, then I think we're going to have better art. So thank you for raising that discussion. Thank you for inspiring me to watch Lady and the Tramp tonight, which I will.
Kat, I am so glad that you sent that voicemail. So for anybody who did not listen to our Lady and the Tramp remake or live action remake episode, the whole point that she was referring to was the fact that they had Lady and the Tramp. You have Jim Dear and Darling. They actually gave Jim Dear and Darling like real characters as opposed to just being side kind of auxiliary characters as in the cartoon was. And it actually like gave them jobs. It gave like all these things, but it really went hard on the husband, Jim Dear, and made him look just like a bumbling buffoon. And I was really annoyed by this because, as she pointed out, this is a real trope that just is like, why why must you
what
do this?
What was wrong with Jim Dear?
He was such like Jim Dear was nice. Like, well, there was nothing about it, and they had to turn Darling into this like she woman at the end, or she's the one that really saves the day. Like, it's just weird, and I didn't like it at all. And I'm really glad that you sent this so that I could rant about it one more time.
Take it away.
I was, one thing that you mentioned as in like why these characters that they really do get they really are very flat nowadays. And this is just kind of like an ongoing problem that I have seen. And I actually watched a YouTube video today of the channel is called The Second Story. Morgan sent me one of her videos a couple days ago and I really liked it. And so I started watching other ones. And this episode that I'm talking about is called Heroes Are Boring. This is why we hate heroes now. And she goes in and she talks about how, and it's a very highbrow kind of way of looking at it. Like, her video essays are very well thought out. And so it was very interesting to hear how she said it. Like, basically in the 1930s, they saw a story's hero as really just the main character. And it was a full rounded character. They had ups, they had downs, they had pros, they had cons, they had things that they dealt with. And they were fully fleshed out. When nowadays, and I do agree that it happens a lot more in animated movies or animation in general. And I do think that was a Simpsons kind of thing that, and Flintstones. Yeah. I'm just going to go with it's an ongoing problem across the board, not just animation. Like, just our society today lacks a shared moral code. And so everyone is kind of afraid to talk about what is right and wrong.
That's why we see a lot more personal stories. Like, this is my story of my experience growing up in Toronto, or, like for Turning Red, like my experience, this is ancillary, growing up in Toronto as an Asian Canadian, whatever. Or, this is my, I'm working through my feelings of like growing up. Yes, stories. Very specific stories to the person versus these more universal themes that we're able to relate on a grander scale. I also have heard people mention recently that as far as screenwriting goes, for movies or TV shows, like the up and coming batch of screenwriters aren't necessarily well versed in classical literature. They're more so they're familiar with media. And movies are their go-to, versus going back to the classics that have stood hundreds of years for some, and studying those and those characters and what made them great, and using those as a reference point, and in weaving references of those in to their work, instead of now it's like, well, we're going to reference, this movie from the 90s ourselves. That I liked, right? Like, yeah, stuff that is a little bit more topical, but not less relevant, but less substantial. And I as I've been thinking about that, I'm like, wow, that is true. Like, people, they're growing up on a diet of visual media versus this classical literature that really was able to paint a very beautiful picture, when you wove it into whatever you were doing, whether that's characters or screenwriting. So I liked her use of Futurama. And it's been a while since I've seen Futurama. Like, I was never a big Futurama stan, but I would watch it when it came on, but I couldn't tell you like certain episodes but I always appreciated it for what it was. But yeah, we need more characters that just are flawed. Not flawed
like, oh, I'm making this person a bad, have all these bad characteristics just because, but like, I'm a well-rounded person that has strengths and weaknesses, and those can get me in trouble. And and like everyone you interact has these things. I was listening to someone called, I was listening to an analysis of the Steinbeck book called East of Eden. And they were talking about how, and I've never read this and I'm interested to read it, but it's basically an allegory of the Garden of Eden. And each of these characters sort of, there's, from what I can tell, there's like 3 different sections in it, and they represent different parts. But yeah, it was just really interesting how the different, as they were analyzing the different characters, like they were just so deep. Like some were so totally normal, but they had this fatal flaw, or this person, and so I'm like, I want to go back and read that and dive into it more. And that's considered modern literature. It's from the 50s, but anyway, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So with Kat, we're coming back around with Kat. She did end up watching Lady and the Tramp. And so here is the follow-up voicemail from Kat.
Hi, Rotoscopers. This is Kat. I left you a voicemail, I think, a couple of weeks ago, probably very excitedly because I think that I had like way too much caffeine when I called. But anyway, I wanted to follow up because I remember that voicemail was about Lady and the Tramp, the 2019 version, and the trope of the not so intelligent man. And I did actually watch the new Lady and the Tramp that night, well, the 2019 Lady and the Tramp that night. My husband was working, so, perfect opportunity. And I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, but I don't know if that's because it was actually, like, good, or it was one of those things like, wow, I'm watching a movie. I haven't seen a movie in so long, and all the nostalgia of Lady and the Tramp from when I was a kid. But I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. And one thing I noticed, I don't think that the trope, at least in my opinion, of the Homer Simpson, type dumb husband was so much what I saw. I feel like Jim Deere's character was more of like a really lovesick guy, and that his MO was more like, I'm just so in love that I'm doing stupid things. At least that's how I kind of took that. And I do feel like that was alluded to, and I need to rewatch the original now, but I do feel like that was really alluded to in the original, but maybe not so overtly. And I do think that, it was nice to have it a little bit more in the background in the OG version. But yeah, that was kind of my perception. I was expecting, kind of like a doddering imbecile type trope, but instead it was just like a goofy, young, super in love, can't even see his feet kind of guy. And I thought it was kind of sweet. So that was just my feedback on that, my follow-up. And I'm enjoying y'all revisiting the live action versions of these Disney movies that haven't really seen, and now I'm curious to see, but definitely very excited for The Boy and the Heron because love that one. Thanks for everything, and thanks for listening to my rambling voicemail.
What have we done?
The Boy and the Heron. We'll get there. We'll get there.
She's still waiting.
Man, sorry. There's a lot of people still waiting, I'm sure. Okay, so this is also one of those things that I probably have gone over the top because that's just what I do.
One little thing triggered you into exploding it into a bigger thing than it needed to be.
I think the main reason why I was really mad about the whole thing is just this inconsistency of character arc for him, because the entire time they're talking, like, people talk about him as though he's a struggling musician, and he never plays or anything, and it's just her that does anything musical. And it was just like so inconsistent with how, like, who is writing this stuff? And so it's like, that's one of those things. But then also it was her having to be the she woman at the end. And I was just, so that, I'm sure going in, I'm glad that you saw him as more of an innocent and lovable character. And I'm just I'm okay being overly dramatic about this, because that's just what I was triggered with.
And it also reminded me, she was mentioning in her first voicemail about Homer Simpson. And I watched a video recently that talked about the progression and the evolution of Homer Simpson, and I'll include it in the show notes. But Homer I stopped watching maybe after season 13-ish consistently.
Yeah.
And I'm very much a season, 1 through 10, maybe 1 through 8 or 2 through 8 if I'm really going to be very picky.
Yeah.
2 through 8 is like perfect, but I'll watch 1 because it's season 1, and then I'll extend it out to 10, but nothing more. But I still don't understand how Simpsons is still on TV. Like who watches it at this point? But someone does, and then it's still around, which is shocking. But they talked about how Homer has totally shifted over the years, where he was just dumb, but he was sincere. Like, he loved his family. He was doing the best for his family. I mean, you think of that very first episode, which wasn't supposed to be the first episode, but because of the way that production was working, so the one where they get Santa's little helper, and it's kind of like a Christmas special as their very first episode, is the babysitter, like the scary babysitter who like kidnaps him, or that was supposed to be the first episode, I think. But in that one, I mean, he is really upset because he loses his Christmas bonus, and he doesn't know how he's going to afford anything for Christmas, and he goes through this really emotional arc trying to figure out different ways to pay for Christmas and to make it happen. And then, he gets a little sillier as we go on, and a little stupider, and a little stupider, and stupider and stupider. And then he's turned into something called Jerk-A Homer, according to the fandom. And I'll include a link about this. But for a period from 1998 to about 2007, they think that's kind of like his heyday, where he was just a jerk for the sake of being a jerk and a real loser. And so it's interesting how like they just really like leaned into this terrible aspect of him, where that wasn't ever really who Homer was.
Well, I loved when Conan would talk about how they're like, how stupid can we make this guy? And it was when they were writing it, it was just more as a funny like gag, and not because, I don't know, it was the Harvard crowd. it was the Conan O'Brien crowd. They got away with a lot of things because they were good. But yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, he definitely has had quite the arc.
So yeah, it's just so funny because she's talking like, oh, it's fun seeing you guys go through your series of animation or live action remakes. And we did quite a few of those. So if we did Lady and the Tramp, Disenchanted, is that considered? No. We didn't. I don't think we did it in 2024. So we Lady and the Tramp, and then we did Peter Pan and Wendy, Pinocchio, and then I guess Snow White, Lilo and Stitch, and then How to Train Your Dragon. So surprisingly, we've actually done quite a few of these, not necessarily all Disney, but the live action remakes have really been, for the podcast, the main thing. Eventually we need to go back to Mulan and Pinocchio. I included that. So maybe
two types of Pinocchio.
Yeah, we hit them both.
Not the live action,
one that was better than the other. So yeah, good stuff. All righty, let's go to our next one. This is from Jana.
Hello, Chelsea and Morgan. My name is Jana, and I have been a big fan of the podcast since I started listening in 2017. Woo. I just finished episode 340, Not Just a Goof. I haven't watched this documentary yet, but I'm looking forward to it after listening to this episode. I wanted to offer a few comments since y'all mentioned the staying power of a Goofy movie over the last 30 years. I remember seeing a Goofy movie when it came out in theaters, and I think it is so cherished because it has those familiar road trip moments that we can all relate to. The diner stops along the way, something bad happening to the car, and visiting random tourist attractions. But it also captures the heart of taking a special trip together and all the memories that stay with you forever. It's a very special movie to me personally because it reminds me of being a kid in the 90s. What a wonderful time to grow up, huh? Watching it brings back so many memories of my childhood. Lisa Frank, American Girl magazine, and of course watching tons of Disney movies. Our family also definitely had that same Mickey Mouse phone that is shown in Max's room at the beginning of the movie. Speaking of cartoons from the 90s, I wanted to ask, have either of you seen the movie Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue? This is a vivid memory from elementary school burned into my mind. I remember watching this in my school's library. It's an anti-drug campaign starring popular cartoons from the early 90s. The Smurfs, Alf, Alvin and the Chipmunks, and Muppet Babies.
Oh,
And
man,
yes,
I need to look
it
that
is
up on
as weird
YouTube.
and cringy as it sounds. I love listening to the podcast with you, my fellow animation friends. I appreciate the random movie quotes and your great appreciation for movies with genuine heart that tell a great story. Lots of love and very best wishes from your 90s BFF. Bye.
Woohoo!
Thanks, Jana.
Wait, let's look that
Oh,
up.
1 second. Yeah, let me switch screens and pull this one up so you can get a feel for. So this is Cartoon All Stars to the Rescue, 1990, 30 minutes. So it's more of a
Oh,
short.
wow. Yes.
You can rent it here free. I don't know what this poster is from, but apparently you could rent it somewhere for free.
With Winnie the
Drug
Pooh, even.
PSA. Yeah, you got quite a few.
Everybody, every company's
Everyone's here. The whole gang's here.
jumping
You got
in.
Garfield, the Muppet Babies. You have the Smurfs, Looney Tunes, the monster from the Ghostbusters, TV
Ghostbusters.
show, Alf in animated form, not Pog form this time. So yeah, we should do some obscure 90s films.
Yeah, that would be a fun one to jump into.
She sent a different voicemail and then said, no, use this one instead. But in it, she was saying, like, I feel like you guys, like, get me. We're like, we'd be best friends if we were in person. And I'm like, I feel the same. And she the episode that she found us on, what was it? I can't even remember at this point, but it was the, what was that Snow White one from the 90s that wasn't really Snow White? That was,
oh, yeah.
Happily
Not Ever After.
Happily Ever After.
Happily Ever After.
Yeah.
I think.
So, kind of like movies like that. Once Upon a Forest. Like, we should go and just.
Did we do that?
I think we did.
We've done so many. I know,
but there has to be more of these like really weird type of films. This would be a fun one to do, just for kicks and giggles. Like, we
can throw that in the
let's
list.
Go back and do it. Plus 30 minutes, and it's on YouTube from what I've seen. So, yeah. I mean, I don't feel bad watching it on YouTube because it was free to rent here. It seems like they really wanted people to watch this, so
they're coming to the rescue, Morgan.
Nice. I love it. And, I love hearing from listeners who've been listening for such a long time. 2017, that's a long time. You've been listening a long time.
I know.
This is the first voicemail. I love it. But that's so funny because 2017 is basically like the after the 5-year mark, post Mason, and a different era of the podcast began. And thanks for sticking around with our random breaks that happen. Sometimes it's a few months, sometimes it's
that was about the time we started doing a lot of random breaks too. So for her to even continue through that, man.
If you are a listener who has stuck around through the random breaks and not unsubscribed, and send us a voicemail, let us know. Tell us your favorite moment or episode or something you'd want us to review. And next time we do one of these, we'll do that. So next up is Casey.
All right, Casey, let's see what you got.
Hello, Rotoscopers. This is Casey from Maine. To be honest, I like the new Lilo and Stitch, though the ending wasn't quite what I expected. But it was worth seeing Stitch on the big screen, and the girl, Maya, who did Lilo, did a great job. Oh, aside from Tia Kari, who was the original Nani, the original David appears in the where Nani works.
Oh, okay.
And the old lady, Tutu, that's her name. That was Amy Hill, who originally voiced Mrs. Hawega, the older lady when they go to find jobs.
Oh,
okay.
And the girl Stitch you guys mentioned, that's actually Angel.
Okay, yes, I need this information.
Angel is Stitch's girlfriend. She was first introduced in Lilo and Stitch the series. She was one of the experiments they had to capture and redeem because they were evil experiments. And she was voiced by Tara Strong.
Nice.
And she was so popular that they decided to merchandise her.
Why not?
Well, can't wait to hear your opinion about How to Train Your Dragon. Bye.
Okay, Casey, excellent voicemail. Thank you for providing that information on the pink.
She's like, now I don't have to Google it.
Stitch. Exactly. I mean, that was something. It was like, okay, I need to research this, and it just didn't happen. And now I'm like, okay, Pink Stitch named Angel. If you would have said $100, what is the name of this character? I would have guessed Angel.
Yeah, I don't think I would have.
I'm interested to hear what Tara Strong's version of a girl Stitch sounds like. Should I pull it up? Let's see.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's probably in a similar vein, maybe just like pitched up slightly. Let's see. Okay, so
in a Tara
Stitch,
Strong kind of
Angel
manner.
Stitch Angel song. Oh, Angel's full story from our pal Isaac Carlson. I could have gone and watched his video. All right, I just want like a clip. This looks like a clip. Okay.
It says it's the full episode.
I don't need a full episode. And I don't want, because we do post these to YouTube, I don't want it to get flagged.
Good job.
Oh.
I'm trying to find where she talks. Okay, what about this? Oh, that's slurping her nose with her tongue.
That is beautiful.
Come on, Angel. Here we go. Last one. Singing. She's like hypnotizing him. Okay, well, I mean, similar vein, what we were expecting.
Okay.
Yeah, so nice. Okay, that's all we have for this episode. You have any updates, Chelsea? We can shoot the breeze for a wee bit. Well, yeah. Sure. This is talking about unimportant things, but I like to eat the same thing over and over and over again. Once I find a really good thing that works, that's easy, that I can make a whole bunch of it and just pull it out. So I don't have to think about lunch. I don't have to make stuff, waste time, because I'm so efficient with my time. And that's being very facetious, in case you're wondering. I'm going crazy over here. So constantly interrupted, can never get anything done, just struggling big time. So, when I can't do something like this where I'm like, okay, just make something. I'm really into chicken salad right now, which has been a go-to staple. Very easy to make. You know the ingredients: canned chicken, red onion, chopped up celery, red grapes, and chopped up pecans. And then I mix it with, salt and pepper, and then half mayo, half full fat yogurt. And so I was eating it, every single day I was eating, I was like, this is fine. I feel like I'm missing something with the flavor. I'm like, I feel like I need something to take this to the next level. So I looked up some recipes and found one that had 4 technically additional ingredients. And I've decided to keep the 3 of the 4. So one is a little bit of celery seed. According to them, it punches up the flavor. A scoop of Dijon mustard. And I must say that really does take it to the next level.
Oh,
a little teeny squeeze of lemon. Why not? Gotta have the acid in there.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one, this one I've ditched. I added the teeniest amount of this, and it was so overwhelming, was fresh dill. And when I added the dill, all I could taste was the dill. Didn't love it. So,
that seems like...
I gave that the boot. So now I have a very flavorful chicken salad that I guess the reason I'm talking about is because here's my bowl of chicken salad right here that I'm staring at, that I scarfed down right before the podcast. And I was grateful that I had it pre-made so I could at least put something in my belly before we did this. So yeah.
I like it. Have you ever tried the grapes that taste like cotton candy?
No, they kind of weird me out. I like, why are they manufactured?
Why do they taste like cotton candy?
It seems like they're engineered to taste a certain way.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
But I understand why. I understand. But also, like, on the strap, like the thing that holds the whole can, like, container together, it says they really do taste like cotton candy, which is a direct quote from me. And I'm sure that's why they put it on there, because everybody's like, they really do taste like cotton candy.
So funny. And is it enjoyable to eat?
Yeah, I like them.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm sure that I will end up with like a third eye or something, because they are
check back in 5 years, y'all.
Right.
All right, guys, that is the voicemails for today. Keep sending them in. Go to rotoscopers.com/voicemails or give us a call at 406-646-6575. It was really fun to hear some new voices this time around.
I think that's so fun. Over the years, we've just virtually met so many different people that they've called in, and it's just like, wow, hey. Sometimes you forget, like, oh, people actually listen. I don't know. Like, we put it out, and I see that there's numbers of people listening, but it's like, it's not real until you hear their voice, and then you're like, oh, hey, long lost friend.
I love it. Alrighty, guys. Until next time,
we are the Rotoscopers. I am recording.
Let me check that my mic's okay. Yeah, I did not. I'm recording on the correct mic. How is my microphone now?
Much better now. You're no longer like, I don't know.
Mediocre
it sounded very
microphone.
tingy and muffled. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we can do this. My
Rotoscopers
way.
circa 2013.
Yeah. Let's hover over.
Actually, it sounded a lot better than that.
Yeah.
Even the crappy mics have come a long way.
Seriously. Man, it's so funny because like we had access to microphones.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what.
I just didn't know how to like put it all together because I hadn't really been doing it. Well, and also it was like, I don't know. I had never done that stuff outside of like a studio before, and I didn't know what was going on. Like, I didn't know what it was going to be.
I'm not blaming you. There is no fingers pointed.
I blame myself though, Morgan. Like, remember during the pandemic when everything went online, and then you saw even like these like really big late night TV hosts are now just from their bedroom and having to look like a normal streamer, and normal streamers are so much better at this than they were. I just remember I posted something like, what is up with this? It's like, what is this? Rotoscopers 2013? Like,
You've been listening to the Animation Addicts Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and be sure to leave us a 5-star review. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you want to help spread the word, be sure to share the podcast with your friends on social media. Just don't forget to tag us at Rotoscopers on Instagram and use the hashtag Animation Addicts. For all the links and full show notes for this episode, go to rotoscopers.com/podcast. Now, if you still can't get enough for your animation fix, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and visit rotoscopers.com for more animation news, reviews, and interviews. Thanks for listening.